Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this video is about what does it mean if you have Sun conjunct Ketu in your birth chart. Sun conjunct the south node of the moon. The meaning is vast, and there is an associated blog with this, and so the address of the blog is down below. And it's part of my December astrology and healing newsletter, so have a look at that too. I'm actually doing this video because there are so many planets in Sagittarius at the moment, and actually Sun is moving towards Ketu in the heavens now, and so on the 30th of December 2019 the conjunction will be exact. And of course the orb is wide, it will have a powerful effect from quite early on in December way into January 2020. And so one of the things is that means that many human beings will be born with the Sun conjunct Ketu destiny, which I'm going to describe. And of course, the closer it is in orb, the more trenchant and powerful the effect. So the question is, what is the Sun and what does Ketu do to the Sun? Now remember that in Vedic astrology, each planet is a god, each planet is a face of the divine. And so the divine Sun, the energy the Sun emits, is king of your kingdom, the good king. And, you know, in ancient Irish mythology, there were big statements about how a good king would behave. And that's true of all the ancient Indo-European cultures, you know, Greek and Vedic as well. So we need to be an adequately strong king of our kingdom. And the essence of a good king is that he can defend the realm and decide strategies and progress strategies forward, and he's actually prepared to sacrifice himself for the good of the people in the kingdom, and his nature is to shine his blessings on all. In no way is he a tyrant. That is what it would be to have a good reception of the divine Sun energy, Surya, the divine Sun. But of course we experience the energies of planets through filters of sign, house and aspects. So get in touch for an astrology reading from me if you want an analysis of your Sun and your Western and Vedic birth charts as well, of course. So the Sun is also seen, like in Vedic astrology, as the divine charioteer. So imagine the charioteer driving the chariot of self, and in his hands he holds the reins, and the reins go to the horses that pull the chariot of self forward. Now, the horses are actually the other planets in our birth charts. So if you have a weak charioteer or a weak Sun, then the chariot will go all over the place and possibly get overturned or pulled off course by one of the horses. So that's a very good image. Okay, but when Ketu, the south node of the moon, is conjunct the Sun, Ketu damages the Sun's energy beyond belief. I want to say that there is possible spiritual benefit if you can survive that. You know, if you can survive the Sun Ketu bad bits, there can be great inspiration. And indeed, these people are often, you know, sensitive and psychic. I have it, and I do tarot readings online all over the world and astrology readings all over the world. But it was hard won. And I'll tell you about the problems of Sun Ketu as this video unfolds. So Ketu, the south node of the moon, has a strongly cutting energy, and he cuts and slices the divine Sun energy up. And remember, one of the things the Sun means is father. So there can be very big scripts about Father. And remember, Ketu is the statement of our past life, our past lives. The karma's coming from past lives. So in Vedic astrology, we land in this life where Ketu is, and we're thrown across our chart to where Rahu, the North Node, is always opposite. So we have a mapped journey in this life to move from our Ketu stated position to our Rahu stated position. And because of the dark nature and ambitious driven nature of Rahu, we have to purify that Rahu if we're to actually get to our destination. So, to return to Sun conjunct Ketu, if you're born with this, it certainly will weaken you. You will lack confidence. You will lack substance. You won't naturally be able to find your strength unless it's all healed. And you may not be fortunate enough to find healing at any particular time in your life. And it means quite problematic things about Father. And so certainly in my own case, I only met my father once when I was 43. And so, I didn't have what can often be a very strengthening position of having a father. And I want to tell you like an interesting, personal story, which has a twist to the tale. So basically, I was so glad to meet my father once, and I heard from him how he was like a 14-year-old boy when Hitler's forces invaded the Danzig corridor, which was part of Poland at that time. Without declaration of war, he was in the fields with his mate. He saw the Nazis drive into the village, start shooting people. He found out afterwards these were people who some nasty person in the village had said, oh, they've got Jewish blood. And so he and his mates sort of went along the road to Danzig, the refugees being strafed from the Nazi planes overhead, enrolled with General Sikorsky's freedom fighters in exile, got to Norway, was taken by British warship to the UK, and after the war met my Irish mother there. And when she became pregnant, he didn't accept that. And so at age 6 weeks, I was put into one of the truly awful Bon Secours convent orphanages. But there is a twist to this tale, and that is, my wife Maggie Pashley and I have regular stands at healers' fairs in the Sligo area, the northwest of Ireland, run by the wonderful Claire Louise Nifton. And we had a fair a few months ago at Ballina, and I noticed that across the big room opposite there was another stand which had a psychic there, and I noticed she kept looking at me and looking at me. She was a medium, and I wondered, what does this mean? And then mid-afternoon she did, it was her turn to do a demonstration, so the crowd sort of gathered round her at one end of the hall, and immediately she turned to me and said, I'm drawn to working with you. And she said, was your father in the army? And I was totally taken aback, and I said, well, yes, he was. He was a freedom fighter in the Polish Army of Resistance against the Germans. And she said, well, he's dead now, but he salutes you. He salutes you from how you've coped with all the terrible difficulties in your life. He salutes you. Now, the thing about Sun-Ketu people is that they can't take praise. It didn't sink in immediately, and it took days, weeks, months to fully come through and sink in. But actually, it now means a lot to me to have had that message from my dead father. And it's part of the process of strengthening and getting fully into your body that Sun-Ketu people have to do. And in the blog associated with this video, I've put the medium's address. She does mediumship work online anywhere in the world, and maybe you will benefit from hearing from your ancestors, for example. And she said other things. And another thing about Sun-Ketu is that we may not be fully in our bodies, and so I've also put the address of like another healer who does ancestral work and also does, dance healing. If we do healing dance, that can, over a few sessions, put us into our bodies and make us able to express ourselves. Many of us may have been brought up to be cut off from our bodies, particularly when there's some awful religion being imposed on us. So these are all Sun-Ketu relevant things, so have a look at the blog. So obviously Sun-Ketu is a recipe for getting a lot wrong in your life, and we were born with the propensity to get things wrong. So what's needed is forgiveness of others who may have harmed us and of ourselves. And what's also needed is to go through fear into the full sun glory of our sun self. So have a look at the blog. Obviously it varies what sign the Sun-Ketu conjunction is in your Vedic birth chart as to how exactly it'll manifest. And so have a reading, and if you feel you need the healings, emotional freedom technique, which my wife Maggie Pashley does, EFT, can be very good. Book an astrology reading with me and we'll go fully into what your Vedic and your Western psychodynamic and Western evolutionary charts say. It's so worth doing. We need to leave the damaged Sun-Ketu self as soon as our level of inspiration and growth permits us. And maybe so much might have gone wrong in our life that itself can be the turning point, often occurring in mid-40s, the 8th house low point in Swiss Huber psychodynamic predictive astrology, which I use in my readings. So much can go wrong that we have like a meltdown, a midlife crisis, and get on the right path. So look out for what's going on in your life. Hear the facts and the timing. Have an astrology reading. Have the needed healing. Be open to coming fully into your body, fully into your own power, fully embodying the sacred divine sun principle. Thank you.